Okay.
Let's do that.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
Sure.
No, not yet. Okay, let's do
I'm
it.
here to give you the assurance that I have not forgotten you.
If we want to see the new evangelization become more than just jargon, if we want to see it grow legs and gain traction and change the world, we have got to take seriously our responsibilities as husbands and fathers, and especially as sons of God.
I want to propose to you then that something that our world is desperately in need of in the midst of this crisis is Catholic Christian masculinity.
If you want to be a good father, then bring your children to confession with you.
I can't get there unless I become a man of ascesis, a man of asceticism, a man of training.
A man not doing penance, a man not disciplined, is not a man.
You guys have upped your game.
You know what, guys? I gotta
gay.
say, I love the concept of Man Show.
Warning: the Catholic Man Show is about to begin.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. Catholic Man Show Wives Edition. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. I'm very much hoping that this show will go viral, as my wife is only... How many days are we? 4 or 5 days? 4 days? We're 4
days.
4 days away from giving birth to our third son, Mr. Leo Thomas Minahan.
Woohoo!
And so, Dave, go ahead and go to the baby cam, if you would, please. No, I'm just joking. We don't have the baby cam.
You can watch him kick in there.
That's the best I got right there.
But no, we have our wives on for the very first time. The first time we've had females on the Catholic Man Show.
Yeah.
Which
have we ever had 4 people? It seems like a crowded.
I think you have.
This is as many people as we can fit on this camera right here.
No doubt. And most likely the holiest show that'll ever happen on the Catholic Man Show.
And the prettiest.
Without a doubt.
Like, by a lot.
By a lot.
So much.
Dave, why don't you go ahead and introduce your wife, and then I'll introduce mine.
This is my lovely wife, Pamela.
Hello.
Niles. We've been friends for a long time. Well, we've known each other anyway for a long time. But we've been married for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
Another child on the way.
Yes.
Not due in 4 days.
No.
But this is my beautiful wife. She has all of my best ideas, so I'm really excited for everyone to get to meet her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And this is my beautiful wife, Haylee.
Hi.
Due in 4 days.
Yes, correct.
We've been married since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 boys, a little girl, a little baby in heaven, and 1 little boy on the way.
Right on.
Yeah.
And Haylee told me that our wives were talking at their little Bible study that they have on Sunday last night when we didn't record.
Yeah.
And Pamela said, "So I have a strategy for tomorrow."
Haylee, you ratted me out.
And she's like, I'm just gonna try not to talk. And then Haley said, "No, you can't do that. That's my strategy." So both of them are attempting not to talk through the episode. So we'll see how that goes.
Holy silence.
Holy silence.
A beautiful strategy.
I feel like we're doing pretty well so far.
Doing great.
And once again, lest anybody accuse us of this, it's not because we told you to be women quiet in the background. Okay, this was your own decision. We didn't want you to do that. We're going to totally try to get you to talk.
We just nod.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Dave, I'm really so obviously because ladies, why don't you tell them what you're drinking this evening before we jump into ours?
Ooh, it looks really good.
It is. Haylee concocted this her very own self with some input from me. It was a group effort.
Yeah. It was a last minute, you know.
On our own.
So what is it?
Wouldn't you like to know? It's ginger ale grenadine, lemon juice.
Yeah,
and a lemon
just a little
slice.
squeeze of lemon and a lemon slice. And
Nice.
Yeah, it's refreshing and pink.
What are we drinking, Adam?
So this evening we're drinking mead, a first for the Catholic Man Show. This is like a epic episode of a lot of firsts for us. So Eric Johnson out of Bend, Oregon sends us this. It's mead. Dave, why don't you read this right here?
The first time I ever heard of mead was on that Bud Light commercial, the Dilly Dilly commercials, which really fantastic. I mean, like
they are good commercials.
Their commercials are very good.
But he even like put together a little like.
So it's an ancient drink in Europe, though not as well known here. It's made from yeast and honey. It's less complicated than beer. It's quick to make. You ferment it. You need patience. The toast, or the gods, and kings.
Well, that whole thing was like part of like it was a.
I'm just
like,
reading this powerful drink called mead.
It
rhymed. This is a. I'm
So
sorry, I was summarizing. I shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah, because
you should have read it, Adam.
Yeah.
Let me try again. It's quick to make and yet to ferment. Patience you need. The toast of gods and kings. A powerful drink called mead.
There you go.
Well done.
Hooray!
Much better.
Dilly dilly.
So to Eric, I appreciate you sending this to us. So it's basically what it is. It's fermented like honey, like sugars from honey. So
Hey, that sounds delicious.
So we're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
We didn't even practice
that
that,
was
and
really
they
good.
nailed
That
it.
was really good. Double cheers.
They did it.
That is good.
Very drinkable. It's lightly
I
carbonated.
can definitely drink this. Yeah.
Well, it's lightly carbonated.
It's got little tiny bubbles in there.
It's 18% ABV though, so don't be
Really?
playing around. Yes.
So you can just like take some honey and throw some yeast in it, and then
I think so it's basically beer yeast with honey fermented with water.
that's incredible.
So anyway,
who knew?
Aristotle talks about it actually
Does he?
in his books. Yes, that's all I know. I that's all I can recall.
In one of the ethics.
I can't remember.
Oh,
It was an
wait,
audiobook that I was
that's
listening to,
Aristotle.
like with Aristotle. And it's
Dude,
like,
you can't audiobook Aristotle. Like
I know, I agree, but you have to go through that learning process of like I can't do this.
now
This
you
is-
and now you know because
and
you
I know.
tried it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but-
a good way to learn things.
But I remember him talking about
Yeah,
it.
just to mess it up yourself.
Yeah. So, but he did talk about it. Ladies, so here's what's happened. We asked everybody if they wanted to, for us all to be on the episode. They said yes, and I said, okay, well, if that's the case, you guys have to ask questions that we're going to answer on air. So we printed off a list of questions, and I figured it'd be best. What we're going to do is we'll go through each, we'll take turns going through questions in between segments. If you're listening live or if you want to go back to our YouTube channel, we'll take maybe some questions from people who are asking them live currently in between segments. But on air, what we'll do is we'll just kind of go through and figure out which ones you guys want to, which ones you like the best.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Okay.
Sure. What about you guys? You pick some also?
Yeah, we'll pick a couple as well,
Okay.
especially the ones that ask like, what's it like to live with the most manly men?
Yeah, that's the one I was really curious
See,
about.
that's what-
I had a lot of those questions.
Because I've wondered
I needed to
that.
prompt that.
I've wondered that for a long time.
Yeah,
like, what is it like to be my wife? Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be incredible.
Yeah. So, why don't one of you ladies go first? Ladies first.
Okay.
Go
so, Haley, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Which one did you like? Oh.
Oh, well,
I like the ones I like. So
you pick yours. And
Make sure
we'll-
you
and we'll go off
make
of
sure you
it.
say who said it.
This question is from Jonathan Sperling. How important is it to have your husbands be part of a men's group?
Well, I'll go ahead and start. I believe you began your first men's group shortly after we were married.
Yeah, that's most likely correct. I
Yeah.
think Ken Sabbath probably came in right around that time.
Yeah, and it was we were newlyweds. We had a new baby, so it was very kind of daunting at the idea at first. It's like, okay, so you're going to be gone.
All the like regularly.
And it, it was a challenge at first, but then started to see the fruits of it as time kind of went on. And from what I gather at the men's groups, it's, it's being able to be held accountable by these men who are invested in your life and invested in your spiritual journey. And so I think it really has kind of spilled over into our family life. And I know that you gain, ideas from other men in these groups, that what they're doing with their families and their wives that have helped you. And so,
and I think accountability from men for men is way different than accountability from me for you. Like, it might be more like nagging if it comes from me or something. But
yeah, I mean, you're right. I've never thought about that. It is definitely different.
Because I keep you accountable to things, different things than the guys do.
And your accountability is probably the strongest accountability. Like if you are reminding me again to do something, then I'm probably going to do it more immediately. But you're right. It's just different. It depends on what the thing is.
Right. And I think also
if Adam was telling me to unload the dishwasher, I probably wouldn't care what he said.
Right.
Or other things.
I can remember right after we went to one of our first men's groups, and I came back home, and Haylee said, "I'm really glad you went. It seems like that you're in a better mood. You're in better spirits. You just seem like you're in a better place."
Yes.
I thought,
absolutely.
Okay, good deal. So when we get back, we'll continue talking with our wives on the Catholic Man Show. We will be right back. Michael asks, this is a question we have to get through real quick, because he asks, how excited are you ladies that we're going to be having a flamethrower very soon? That is a very important question.
Well, let me tell you, hopefully grill dinners will be more on time.
There you go.
You know what? I didn't think about the repercussions of making sure that you're on time.
Yeah, but it is. You can do it real fast.
Whenever David grills, and I'm not blaming you, I'm just you don't know how fast the coals are going to be ready.
Yeah, because
it's always 30 minutes later.
If it's windy, then it can take a long time for the coals to get started,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
It's just hard to time that, because he's outside looking at the coals and I'm inside,
doing
the other things.
Right. Yeah. And the grill gun is sweet because hey, girls, watch this.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure our boys are ready for that.
You're gonna have to lock that up.
They're very excited about it.
Oh yeah.
Because I have been talking it up naturally.
Is it possible to talk it up? I feel like talking something up is maybe inflating it beyond its...
Well, if somebody doesn't understand the concept, a beautiful dad moment is relaying to your son.
Tell me.
What a flamethrower is.
It's kind of like you do with dessert.
Grasping the concept.
Do you guys want a cookie?
Grasping the concept of there's fire that I'm going to be able to shoot out of a gun is mind-blowing for a 4 and 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And then their next question is, when do I get one of my own?
Yes.
Show me how to make one of my own.
Well, you can do that.
We could.
You got hairspray.
You got hairspray.
So. In fact, I had this idea the other day, and it was the kind of idea where you realize, I know I can look this up on YouTube and see people doing this right now. And I was right. I had the idea of filling a super soaker with gasoline and then taping a candle, mounting a candle somehow in the front. And then you just go...
I have no idea why your mom was so worried about things growing up.
We don't have any boys yet.
But YouTube it. There's a lot of videos, actually. And they're all very cool.
All right, let's get...
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess so, yes. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I had a couple of other things to say about that, but they don't need to be said. So should we move on?
We can wrap it up.
You can wrap it up on the... Dave's bringing us back in, so you can wrap up that thought, and we can go to the next question.
Okay.
After you wrap it up.
Okay.
With a bow.
Tally ho. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan, Lady Pamela, and Lady Haylee in the house.
Thank you, Lord David.
Yes.
How many times
this is a dream come true.
How many times did you guys practice that before you came over?
Yeah.
None. I've just been trying to get her to, like, you watch Downton Abbey, and they call people Lord so and so and Lady so and so, and I asked
Sir
Pamela
David.
a long time
He's
ago.
requested it before.
Yeah, I was like, look, if you call me Lord David, I'll call you Lady Pamela. Just know that's, and she just hadn't. I don't know why she hadn't gone for it until just now, babe.
Well,
God, I love you.
You unloaded the dishwasher tonight, didn't you?
No, actually I didn't. But I did last night and loaded.
Pamela, you wanted
totally.
to tie that last question up with a bow.
yeah. So another thing I would say about men's groups, I think more importantly, I don't know if there's another question about this, but just friendship with other men, I think is just really important. Like, I don't want to be his only. Yes, I want to be his best friend, but I don't want to be his only best friend. I don't know. You need some camaraderie to do guy things in a healthy way with, like-minded people. And, but also one of the more important things I wanted to say was that it's a good prayer group for you. I can pray for you, how I pray for you and for what you need, and you can tell me that. But I think you can share on a different level, with other guys, because they are more in your shoes than
and
I am.
I'll echo that, because I remember either during Cursillo or something, Pamela wrote me a letter, and she, like, right after you guys had gotten married, and like it was probably one of the most touching letters that I've received, because she actually mentioned that. She was talking about, like, I am so thankful. You guys are just married. It was like newlyweds, and she was like, I am so thankful that you are part of my husband's life, so that way you guys are together and you have a good friendship and you can grow together in Christ. And I was like, that was awesome. So I think because it was one of those things you realize, like, she realized that this is bigger picture, that we're not competing or battling for each other's attention. It was more of we're all trying to help each other. Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
We have a lot of questions.
Yeah, what's another question?
Let's try to keep going.
Let's see. We were actually talking about this last night, Pamela and I feel like she does a very good job with this. How do you encourage your children to choose in and own their faith?
Who asked that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Anthony.
Mayoko.
Okay.
Mayoko?
Well, at this point, they don't really have a choice.
Yeah, they live
kind
in
of
our...
like you have to eat the vegetables, kind of like
but
that
how are
sort
you
of thing.
fostering that for the future?
Right.
I feel like you.
Well, one thing that I've really been into is just like Catholic art, just like surrounding your environment with this Catholicity. Is that right? Okay.
Catholicity?
I was like thinking about it in my head and I couldn't think of another word. So just everywhere, holy water. And we recently got an image of the Angelus by Rembrandt. Yes. Yeah. Anyways, and so that's been nice because it's like right by our table. I'm like, oh, let's pray the Angelus. And so then we stop during lunch and pray the Angelus. A lot of our books that we have are saints and, Catholic and just like always talking about the true, the good, and the beautiful. And also for us, just making our faith something that our kids can see we enjoy and brings us joy, and our community is part of our faith journey.
Yeah, I think it's super important to make sure, like, to bring your faith into the home without it being weird. Because, like, I remember there were times where
you can force it.
You can force it, and it's like this.
It comes off fake.
It very fake. But if you can just figure out ways to live liturgically without it being weird. Like no, this is just part of what we do as a family.
Yeah.
Not I'm forcing the faith down your throat.
Right.
Yeah, I think that if you just do the Catholic stuff that you like, then it will come off naturally. Because if you just like, I'm going to put a Catholic painting here just because I want to.
We don't have one anywhere else.
Right, yeah, then that's just not going to work as well as if you find the parts of the faith that inspire you the most and present those to your children. I think that's a much more fruitful way.
Yeah, and if they see you talking to God and they see you talking to our Blessed Mother and they notice that this is something you're doing that you need.
Yeah.
And you're
And
living
it's different than other things you do.
Right. And so you can't fully live that faith in front of your kids unless you know it. And you have to be confident, I feel like, because they really sense that, your confidence in something that is so valuable to you.
Yeah. And it's just incorporating everything, I think, into the faith. All things, you
like,
know.
We live Catholic.
Everything you do has, you know, you can talk about if you're doing math or if you're doing whatever, you can bring it back to Jesus or
Count holy cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question from @D_dog86.
All right.
Is that how you say that?
He asks, how has the show changed us? Meaning Dave and I. So how has the show changed Dave and I? I'd be interested to hear both of your thoughts on this.
I'm not sure. When did you guys start the show? I think Elizabeth
it was about 3
like
years ago.
Yeah,
so
2016.
We weren't even married 2 years yet. Just about, but not yet. So I don't know. I'd say you get really excited to like do the research for whenever you prepare an episode, and that's really cool because then you share it with me, and I wouldn't necessarily do that research.
Yeah, neither would I.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, I agree with that completely, because as he's doing research, it prompts questions, you know, when he's discussing and, you know, kind of going through the topics. It has brought on really great, I believe, conversations with us, and
not only like Dave and I, but all four of us, because when we eat dinner together, it's like Dave will realize, hey, there's this virtue I've not even thought about, and we have this we have a conversation about it,
right? And it
which is pretty
challenges
cool.
us, which I think is great for, you know.
Yeah. Like I know about the virtue of magnificence now. Giving
and
away
magnanimity,
giving
or
away
backbiting, or that's not a virtue,
that's
but
a
the
vice.
Yeah, I did not know about that actually until we brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, why don't you get one?
Okay, I like. How do you support your husband? This is from Andre Skasta 91. How do you support your husbands in order for them to be strong Catholic men?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I really like this question. I think encouraging them to lead your family and trusting them to lead your family and showing that you trust. I feel like a lot of the times, and especially when you're a young mother, you're making a lot of decisions for the children, and you're all day long making decisions for the kids, and it's nice to come home, for him to come home and take over and be the head, and me not have to worry about, you know, making some of those, and showing him that I have confidence that you're taking care of our family. And I think that builds them up.
Yeah, and that absolutely does, because what it does is it empowers me. You know, knowing that my wife is going to say, "Hey, I understand what you're saying, and let's go with it as a family." You know, that like it's the respect aspect. It's like she respects and trusts me to say like whatever you know, let's come to a decision together. But whatever you end up saying is what we'll do as a family. It empowers me to say like, okay, yes, let's. I'm going to take on this role. I'm going to take it on.
Yeah.
I
agree. I mean, just from like my side of this question, you know, Pamela is really good at making sure that my role as the father of the house is honored.
Right. And respected.
Because
men want respect.
The mother could easily cut down the dad. I mean, like,
Yes.
a mom can definitely do that. Withdraw the respect in the minds of the children.
Oh, Dad forgot to take out the trash or
right,
something.
exactly. Yeah. If you're always like, oh, he forgot again, you know,
Right.
or he's always, you know, because they hear everything that's said.
Yeah, and it weakens our men,
Yeah.
I feel like, and just cuts down their confidence.
Right.
Yeah. I would say prayer. Probably in the last year, I've really been with my kids, which they're all girls, and so I don't know. It's special because like, Daddy, you know, I don't. It's probably different with boys.
That's true. Like, I'm the king.
Yeah.
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 And they keep telling me, Mom, did you forget you're the queen? It's like, no, I remember him.
I don't ever
And Dad's
forget
the
that.
king. But like whenever we pray, we always pray for Daddy, and I think that's really important that they know I'm praying for him, and that they know that that's part of our job. Dad's job is to go to work. Our job is to pray for Dad. So that's one thing that we really try to do. Also, kind of like you were saying, Haylee, just like, it's hard as a young mother to let your husbands go to men's group, you know, once a month, twice a month.
Yeah, when we're in a couple of them.
Six times a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just have to remember, like, this is good for him and it's good for our family, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
So giving him that opportunity to serve, I get the opportunity to serve by letting you do those things that you need to do to be a man.
Boom.
Amen.
In between breaks, we had a question asked: how many times does Dave say "Eche homo" at home? So we'll have
Maybe
you
one time a
answer-
day.
Don't ruin it. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Sorry, I ruined it. On average.
Yeah, someone.
Maybe not that often.
I can't remember how many.
Depends.
Like,
I feel like I go in spurts.
like you machine gun it for a little while and then pull
Right,
back.
because
Also, we have a sign in our, like a framed thing that says,
somebody sent it
"Eche
to me."
homo.
You know, if you do it all the time, then it's just not funny anymore. So you got to give it breaks so people start to forget, and right at that moment, you bring it back. And you're like, oh no, this is still a thing.
Just in case you forgot.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case you forgot, Eche homo.
Eche homo. You have to do your whole
Which is actually that picture right there.
Yeah. Can they see?
That's from Rembrandt. That's a Rembrandt picture.
No, that's a Caravaggio.
Oh, Caravaggio. I'm sorry.
And just so you know,
That is correct.
the painting of the Angelus is by Jean-François Millet.
Oh, the other picture that we want to get is Rembrandt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christ in the Storm.
Yeah, this is Caravaggio of Eche homo.
Yeah. But I also thought the Angelus was Rembrandt until I bought it. That's when I learned who is Jean-François Millet. Who is that dude? I guess he painted this picture.
But like, it's not even really a religious picture, except for it's called the Angelus. I mean, I think there's a little steeple in the back, but
There is. There's a church in
and
the
she's
background.
bending over to pray, so never mind.
Can you tell it's midday?
Well, a lot of people do Angelus morning, noon, and night. I don't know a lot of people. They used to.
Oh, maybe that looks like dusk.
That looks dusk. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It is kind of dusk. However, in the commentary on the photo, you can see that their tools are just at their feet. So they're not like
Done.
packing up for the day. You know, they just stopped in the middle of what they're doing to say the Angelus. So that's old. You know, paintings, they used to, every little detail was so significant. These days, like modern art, there's absolutely nothing significant about it. It's just mostly terrible. That's my opinion. Modern art.
I think you mean abstract.
No.
Contemporary?
I mean modern. Yeah, like you go. I mean, go to the.
Do you consider Bob Ross modern?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Big fan, actually.
I know, we really enjoy
His
Bob
has a lot of
The dude is a magician, okay? Like, it's like how do you do this in 20 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
this is mind-blowing how you, in 20
He
minutes,
does
you're
the
talking...
whole thing in 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you not watched these?
Oh, yeah,
I've never
babe.
actually watched it.
Oh, man.
Oh, and just when you think he's ruining it.
Yeah,
it's
he'll be like, and we're just gonna take some blue, and you're like, no, not blue, not there. Like, why are you doing this? And then he's like, whoa, total. Like,
Yep.
It's a miracle.
Beautiful lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Yeah, Haley and I have watched hours
So
of
do you
Bob.
also paint while he does?
No, we've wanted
That's
to
what you're
though.
My
supposed to
dad,
do, right?
my dad
Yeah,
has a
we need
Bob
to.
Ross. He did.
Netflix has a ton of Bob
No,
Ross.
I mean like in the 70s, my dad painted.
he really?
He did one like with,
Oh, really?
with him, and it's awesome.
But 'cause
It's really good.
You're watching
I
him
think
and you're
that's
like,
what my grandpa.
The
Papa-
mountain, you know, I don't know if you may have seen it. It's like a mountain
Where is
scene.
it in your house?
It's in the great room. Well, I don't know where it is
Oh.
now. It used to be in there.
I don't
it's
know.
like you watch it and you're like, that looks very easy. It's one of those things like that looks very easy, but it's not. There's no way it's that
too
easy.
easy.
I find that the biggest mistake people make in painting a Bob Ross is their
They
trees.
don't have an afro.
No, well, that is
an epic
Actually,
fail.
it lowers. You know, it's like you just can't harness as much. But their trees are not necessarily happy enough. You know, 'cause
Oh
you
no,
have to-
he has happy
you have to-
shrubs, not happy trees.
Oh no, it's
Oh.
both. He has happy trees. So you paint a happy tree.
Happy
Well,
surprises.
we have no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Oh, accidents.
He's
that's
already
right.
got a
Happy
lot in
accidents.
there.
Does he say that?
saying.
Yeah, there's no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Lovely.
Oh, happy faults.
Oh, reverie.
I think that's such an interesting.
I also struggle with that phrase sometimes. It's like,
No, let's keep going.
yeah.
Are you gonna pick the next one, Dave? Are you gonna pick or?
I think it's your turn.
Oh, is it
Or
my turn?
Somebody else's turn. I picked.
Did you pick one?
I think I picked the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Andre
did pick-
Casta.
I'll do the next one.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Sitting here with our beautiful brides for the first time. No.
Yes, yes.
Hey.
The first kiss on the Catholic Man Show.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Juan has kissed you before on the Catholic Man Show.
Rude.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd have
That's
to.
valid.
I would have to think about that. It wasn't on the lips. If it was,
Okay, so we're at
and probably not consensual.
so we had a bunch of people ask us questions.
In fact,
for,
I think
for this
Juan
episode.
was watching a second ago. He was on Facebook Live.
Hi, Juan.
He was.
We miss you.
We do miss you, Juan.
What time
Yeah.
is it there?
It's gotta be.
It's
gotta
like
be-
it's
It's like
like
9 hours.
it's like terrible o'clock or
yeah,
something.
terrible
Yeah.
o'clock.
Well, it's like early morning, I guess.
Yeah.
Very
So
early.
I had people ask us questions for this episode. I'm gonna start this question. I'm gonna actually answer it first, and then let you guys go after me. So Ryan O'Hanlon asks, "What's an embarrassing quirk about your husband?" And this, I mean, there's so many
There's not
things.
enough time.
Yeah, there's not enough
So
time.
are you going to say one about her?
No, I'm
Okay, good.
gonna say one about me.
That's not what this
that
show's
I, like,
about.
No, that I just like continue doing. So when we're driving up and we're pulling into a parking lot, I have this I do this thing where I don't let her know which parking spot we're going to pick. So I'm pulling into this parking lot. There's multiple parking spots available, right? And at one point, there may be a parking spot that's in front as well open. And so I will bypass multiple parking spots where she's like, "What are you doing?"
That was a good one.
That was a good one. And and then I'll slowly pull into one and kind of like almost act like that I'm about to stop, and then roll just a little bit forward into the next one, throwing it into park.
Sure. And then at times you will even hint that you're going to turn into this spot. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not
I
soon
threw
enough.
some
no.
fakes in.
Keep her on
Yeah.
her toes.
Yeah.
Every time?
Almost.
Almost,
Keep her
yes,
guessing. I
yes.
like it.
Yes. Almost every time that we park.
Just when you think you know me, I'm in the
West.
I'm in the West.
Yeah. So that's
Interesting.
one that I think that I'm not sure if that's one you would say, but
No.
that's-
When I read this question, I wasn't sure what to think about it. Because, obviously you could say the same about me. You probably know me better than I know
very many
myself.
quirks is the thing.
Well.
Okay.
That could be true.
Yeah. But, when we were first married, I got some great advice from Mother Miriam that had helped, and it has, throughout our marriage. But she had said, never expose your husband to be anything other than saintly in front of other people, especially. And so I kind of read this question. I was like, does that kind of
and
border
someone
on the
even
line
said,
of,
this is borderline gossip. And I thought,
really?
good, we don't have to answer that question.
Oh, okay.
On the Facebook.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
But I was thinking about, and so
a woman said it, and, we know.
Yeah. But
we know.
a quirk, I would say maybe a cute quirk about my husband.
Yeah, they're all cute. All of them.
Is he really downplays how intelligent he is. And it's like he never.
That's not true.
Every time, you guys have an intellectual on the show or somebody who is, or he's, talking with someone through a text message, which I won't say any names, but we know.
# Thomas Lackey.
Well.
Yeah. I know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just, and he'll always, I can see him shaking his head and I'm just not that smart. I'm just not that smart.
That's
like,
actually,
okay.
that's true.
You're just not that educated.
Edumacated.
Yeah.
Or disciplined.
Yeah. I don't have quirks as much as I just have serious character flaws. deep down.
The quirks I was thinking about really have nothing to do with your character.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe. Actually, you can link it to something.
Okay, so let me tell you this. I was on a retreat this last weekend. One of the things was that there was the biggest jar of peanut M&Ms I'd ever seen in my life. Okay?
Oh, my.
And I guarantee you that I ate 2 or 3 times as much as the next guy. Whoever is in second place in the peanut M&M eating contest,
wow.
I smoked him. Here's why. Okay, I had my own little bowl. Like, you know what? This is what I'm going to have today. I'm just going to have this much. People kept coming and dumping their bowls into my bowl. The problem was that I had already
color coordinated.
Yes, I had arranged my M&Ms in Roy G. Biv. They all had their own pie slice of my bowl.
Who does that?
Okay, and not only that, I had 2 of each color. And then you come and just dump your peanut
OCD to the max,
into my bowl. Okay, and it's like, all right, fine. I can fix it.
They are testing you.
I will fix
this. No big deal.
Hurry, eatable.
But then it's like, now I have 5 orange ones and only 3 green ones. So I clearly need to eat 2 orange ones. So you can see why I just had to keep eating the M&Ms.
This is too much.
You see why
and I
that's
was
a problem?
telling him it's a good thing they all at least taste the same. Like unlike
No
Skittles or something, that would have been bad for you.
There's many things
that would be bad.
I count them all as I'm quite the opposite of Adam in this way, because I count them all as marks of intelligence. Anyway, let's just go and pick a new question.
Ask Father James Porter's question. That was a good one.
What Christian virtues do you think all women and families ought to have in today's culture?
All of them. That's my answer.
Yeah.
I think a boldness and patience.
Yeah.
Boldness. Ooh.
You have to be bold. Like,
totally.
To wear skirts
preach
all the
babe.
time or something. I mean,
to be Christian out in public.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
To do the sign of the cross, you know. I mean, that's
yeah, because
just a small example.
We pray, when we go to restaurants. I can't tell you when the last time I saw somebody else praying at a restaurant. I mean, you guys?
Not that
it's been forever.
It's been a while.
I don't really
forever.
A long time.
Go to restaurants.
Yeah.
Or
And
even
then,
in your own faith community, like we do some things that, the guy in the next pew, he and his family don't do. Like staying after mass is over and praying or something.
Yeah.
Or like trying not to chat with people
Like
before
I feel like
you're out in the commons.
not eating meat on Friday is really gaining traction in the broader community.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's actually still something we're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you need to have a boldness. Also, I think a woman needs patience. You need patience for all the virtues.
Yeah.
Patience to love. Patience to be generous. Wait for the right time.
Be charitable, you know, and
I think
always seeing the good in others and in your children, because there's times where, frankly,
That is hard,
You just want to spank them.
I'm going to spank the good right out of you.
Mother Angelica, I think, actually said that boldness should be the 11th commandment.
Ooh,
Wow.
babe.
There you go.
I told
Did
you.
not even know
all
that.
my best ideas.
Yeah, and at this age, with, you know, the boys especially, they're seeing, you know, they're interacting more with our neighbors who aren't Catholic and are good kids, but at the same time, we don't, you know, I have to explain, you know, we do things differently, and that's okay. And they seem to just, you know, accept that. And
Right.
I think from a young age, hopefully they'll keep that up. But
Right.
What about this question from Elizabeth Schroeder? I want to know more about praying together as a couple. How does it impact your daily life? Practical suggestions for how to get started, and what types of prayers or ways of praying do you currently find most efficacious?
We had actually a lot of questions about our prayer routines, prayer life together. How do we do that as a family? So that's a good one. Why don't we let you guys go first, because we're going to hit a break here in a little bit. So we'll let you guys go first, and then maybe on the other side of the break, we'll pick up ours.
Okay, do you mind if I start off as the
Please.
leader of our prayer life?
Please do.
And then you can come in and say the important stuff. So our prayer life is largely structured.
Our together prayer
Our
life.
together prayer life. My prayer life as an individual is largely structured. And that's maybe even it's as a couple, maybe it's even too structured. But I incorporate things, or I would count things in our prayer life other than just praying. You know, like I give her a blessing a couple times a day, you know, before I leave for work, and after we all pray as a family before bed. And I count prayer for each other even when we're not with each other. I mean, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's not part of her question, you know, but we have some devotions that we pray together.
How awkward was it at first to pray? Because that's, I think, to start praying together may be awkward for people. Was it awkward for you guys?
Well, you know what? One of the questions was, did you kind of start dating at the same like faith level or prayer, you know, intensity or whatever? And I'd say we kind of did. And so I knew that he was a man of prayer. He knew that I was a man of prayer, and we just...
A woman of prayer.
Yes. And
words are hard. We say that on the show. Words are hard.
They're so hard.
I know. So we just have always incorporated prayer. I will tell you, we used to read a lot more scripture together than we do now.
Yeah.
But see, we have a problem that we just like fall asleep during our prayer sometimes, which is a beautiful thing about praying together, is that one of us manages to stay awake, and so that's nice.
And finish it up.
Yeah,
That's
so we do this devotion that you say these prayers for 12 years.
This
St. Bridget?
Saint Bridget. By St. Bridget. There's another St. Bridget devotion that's different. This is the 12-year one. We're halfway. We're over halfway now.
Oh,
but one of us...
Can I be one of the people?
You don't need it. You don't need it.
That's rude.
I've got people who need it more. We'll put it that way.
It's true.
That's a bummer.
Anyway, one of us will
can do your
very
own.
often fall asleep, but almost never both of us.
Yeah, almost never.
Yeah. But we'll talk about this more.
Okay.
On the other side of the break.
Sounds good. We're here with our wives on the Catholic Man Show. You're listening either on radio or podcast, YouTube, Facebook. I don't know what else. Whatever you're listening to.
The
hang in there.
Beatific Vision.
The Beatific
Wow.
Vision.
Never thought about that.
Wow. St. Thomas
Very
Aquinas.
nice.
Hang on, we'll be right back.
That's just what I came up for your litany there.
And maybe the first time that I could be like, listen, St. Thomas Aquinas, hold on real quick. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy.
Yeah.
Stand by.
Yeah.
Float by.
Yeah.
Float by, Tommy.
Float over here. Float over here.
Okay.
Let's see if there's
Anything
any.
from Facebook
Yeah,
that
there
we
could
just
be.
really-
There could be some questions on Facebook here real quick before we get into our last segment. She does have all the best.
All their best. I'm telling you, I know.
It's about time, guys.
That really is true. Like even the man gear.
Yeah,
He'll ask me, and
She does. She comes up. I'm telling you, like, Just so many good ideas.
And have you done cufflinks before or something, you know? Which I do tell him to, like, why don't you come up with a list?
St. Stephen Hool, we have not answered your question yet. That'll be probably our last question that we ask.
Yeah. You guys should do the... Oh, you're looking at the Facebook one, but you should do that one.
Okay.
There's other questions, but we'll end up answering them.
You've got
We
one.
have it.
We'll end up answering them
Excuse me.
probably in the last segment. So,
What about this question, the last one on the first page? That one could be good.
Yeah, I kind of liked that one.
That's something that...
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's like once you're married, you finally figure out how to date.
You have
I think.
all this advice.
Yeah, like... Yeah.
Did you mark this one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's just keep going because I think that we'll the other questions that are being
Excuse me.
asked
Thank you.
Do you need
will be
tissue?
answered.
Got some.
Yeah, actually, that might not be a bad idea.
Okay, I'll wait. I'll stand by.
Thank you.
That would be preferable.
We should get add a blur function here. I'll go to
Here,
I'll go
thank
Bev
you.
Cam.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
What?
That
just happened?
Just
She's watching the Facebook delayed. And okay,
For
let's
the
keep
nose
going.
blow.
Wait, is this the last one? So you're bringing us back in.
Yeah.
You guys finish yours, and then we'll briefly talk about ours, and then we can
Yeah.
go to the next thing.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles. This beautiful woman here beside me is my wife, Pamela. Pamela, I'd like to dedicate this episode to you
Thank you.
and my love for you.
I'll dedicate this episode to you. Am I allowed to do that?
Honey.
Yes, I will allow it.
Huge eye roll.
Your turn.
I'll dedicate my life to you, babe.
I
Not
like
just
that.
the episode.
Yeah, that's cheesy. Cheesy. I'm just kidding. It's better.
Okay, let's finish that.
So one thing really that I wish was better about our prayer life is that we would do more spontaneous prayer, because I always like it when we do that. The problem is that we fall asleep.
We fall asleep.
Usually one of us, well, not usually, very often, one of us is down for the count. And we're terrible at getting to bed on time. Anyway,
and
so
you know what?
it's-
Also, I think if we got up at the same time, I think we could more easily add to our couple together praying.
Yeah.
But I don't get up that early.
And you don't need to, babe.
I'm not willing to. At this point in my life, anyways.
Yeah. You guys, prayer life. Go.
The biggest thing, I'll let Haylee, I'll start out and then let Haylee add all the substance. But the biggest thing in our prayer life, I think, was whenever we added the pray do right by our bed.
Yeah.
Because
that's a win.
It gave us the no, we're not getting in bed until we pray. So you see it, you can't escape the prayer.
You feel guilty if you're not at that prayer.
There's a Catholic guilt there. Yeah, I mean, so but if you realize no, I need to be praying. I need to pray with my wife. So it's a visual reminder before bed of no, not let's get in bed and then maybe we can pray and
fall asleep.
Like unholy people.
Yeah.
No,
it does help to stay awake, though.
It does because it keeps you awake.
It does, yeah.
And so we have our pray do at the foot of our bed, and we have a crucifix right above our bed. So I think that is
the environment.
And being intentional, have an intentional space for us to pray together, has been such a huge benefit to us as a couple. Our prayer life together.
Yeah, and also just having the vulnerability, especially early in our marriage, because I was a new Catholic. I mean, and I was not coming from a faith background. It took a lot of courage, I think, for Adam to come to me and say, I think we need to do this. And it was little things, and especially if you have a spouse or you're dating somebody who maybe their prayer life isn't as structured or strong as yours, I think it takes a lot of courage and, a huge feeling of vulnerability to be able to say, no, this is going to help us. This is going to strengthen our relationship with each other, but more importantly with Christ. And Adam did that right off the bat. And, not having that formation, I think slowly over time it helped to increase my confidence.
Yeah, and I think some of the things that I did there was like, hey, let's have a family patron saint, and that gives us something to pray. Like there's a prayer for most patron saints have prayers, specific to that person. So it's like, hey, we're gonna have a family patron saint, so we'll pray this together. That's one that was like a very easy one to incorporate within our prayer life. Another one was the prayer, the good night to our Blessed Mother that we pray. We've prayed that for years. And I actually tagged that at the end of all of our episodes. So if you go back to our episodes and look at our show notes, I actually add that to all of them. It's a beautiful prayer. And we pray that together every night as well. So the pray do, I think, is a big thing. And then just like having things that are specific to your family that you say, nope, this is what we're going to do together. This is something that is part of our family, so this is part of the prayer life as well.
Yeah. And so if you're getting started, men, it's your job. You should be the one leading the prayer,
even if it's awkward, because it's going to be awkward when anytime it's an intimate situation.
But it doesn't have to be.
I think
you might feel awkward about it, but
it's not as awkward as what it.
Start off with saying, let's pray in our Father. It's not weird to pray in our Father together with somebody. Maybe if the person, like if you're dating somebody who's an atheist, maybe that would be awkward. But also, like, maybe don't date an atheist. That's also a thing. Right. For women, though, I think it's difficult. I think there's a lot of women out there who wish, and they yearn for their husband or the person that they're dating. That maybe it's very serious, whatever. They wish that they would be the leader.
That they would be willing and that they would be the leader.
Right, because it's kind of a conundrum. If you have to ask them to lead them in prayer, are they really the one leading the prayer? Leading the prayer. It
could be the snowball, though. It could be the beginning of the snowball.
Right.
In fact, like if Haylee said, you're asking about spontaneous prayer. You're saying like, I wish we would have more spontaneous prayer. If Haylee said, hey, we should pray right now. In fact, Luke just the other day blew my mind. We were having it was kind of a hectic day. We were all kind of not feeling it. We were under the weather. We weren't feeling very well. It was a busy day. And Luke kind of, our oldest, kind of caught the vibe of the evening. And he said, we should pray night prayer together. And I was like, wow, that is...
Like from the Liturgy of the Hours?
Yeah, he just said night prayer together. And so I don't think he meant Liturgy of the Hours. He probably meant our night prayers that we pray together.
Yeah. But I was going to be really impressed if...
No, but he just he had this sense of there's disorder in the family, so thus we should pray together.
Yeah.
And those are the things that trickle down to your kids whenever you have this ordered prayer. Then they realize that something is ordered within the family. The dad is leading, the mom is right there beside them, and the kids are there praying together. Yeah. So they realize that, okay, this is what we should do in times of stress or things that aren't okay.
Yeah.
So I think that right there is nope. If the wife says, hey, we should pray together, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Dad, I really think we should pray Compline.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Vespers is right now.
It's kind of your job, but I think
I'll pick up the slack.
Yeah. It's time for night prayer.
But JP2 says that every person in the family has a responsibility and a duty to help the family get to heaven.
Yeah.
Which I think is a beautiful thing if you think about it. Every person within the family, if we're all together, we're the domestic church. We all have a role to play to get each other to heaven. Okay. I talked way too much there.
Here's this. We were going to do another one, but I want to do this one. How does your wife make you a better Catholic? How do you help them on their spiritual journey as well? I know that my wife Pamela has made me a much better Catholic. Just because there were things that you encouraged me to make a priority, and things like not shopping on Sunday. In my mind, that was always, that's kind of the ideal. But when it came down to it, actually making the decision to not go to the store on Sunday, even though I need something from Lowe's, it was always kind of like, well, that's the ideal, but it's just,
not practical.
I need this, I'm trying to work on it. But then Pamela would encourage, she would, if I go to Lowe's, she's not like she's going to judge me. God might, but Pamela won't. But she would still say, for her own things that she needed, God, we really need bread, but it's Sunday, so we're not. And so that little things that she does like that are constant reminders for me. She's just a better Catholic than I am. So
that's what I say all the time. Haley's only been a Catholic since 2012. She received 5 sacraments in 2 months, which was epic. But she's a way better Catholic than I am, and I've been a cradle Catholic my whole life. I think that she's helped me immensely. Just like the things that I take for granted. Like, okay, there's guys think like let's get to mass. Let's make sure we pray before we say our
checking boxes.
Yeah, checking boxes. But she's the one that's always like, no. Let's incorporate more prayer. Let's incorporate like what we're doing. Let's be intentional about it. So she makes me a better Catholic. But
thanks, ladies.
That way.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then we have this question from Saint Stephen Hoole.
This is a very important question.
This might be
possibly the most important.
This might be the most profound question I've ever heard.
Actually, many people have asked this version of the question.
The people want to know.
The people want to know.
What's it like being married to the manliest Catholic men on the planet? I'll tell you, Pamela, I've often wondered this myself.
It's terrific.
I knew it. That's what I thought.
I love being married to you, and it's awesome.
I love being married to you.
Should we kiss
now.
again?
Okay.
Oh, I guess it's my turn.
Your turn.
Oh.
Silence from the other side of the table.
Holy silence.
Oh, it's not good.
It is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can respond with one adjective like I did.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it.
I think the biggest part is like making sure we're all on the same page. As a family, it's like, listen, okay, if we're going to lead our family to heaven, here's the roles that we all have to take, which are all important to get us all to heaven. So to distinguish, like, here's what I'm going to do, here's what you're going to do, here's what the kids should do, all being on the same page, like, to get our family to heaven, because that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and we've said this on the show before. Having authority is not for ourselves, but we have authority to use it for the benefit of others. So it's important to be communicating with your wife so that you can say, what do you need from me so that I can be the best leader for our family? It's something you need to do regularly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the show is ended, but we will continue just for a few minutes, answer a few more questions.
Couple more questions.
You can check that out on YouTube or the social medias. Ladies, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening.
You're welcome.
We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus. Haley. We did it.
The Stephen Hoole's question, the manliest men, it kind of...
What's your real answer?
Well,
now that it's off, it's like,
over.
Actually, they're not even very manly.
I was just put on the spot. I was like,
what are you supposed to say?
Yeah.
That's why I said terrific.
Tell me how great I am.
But that, A.D. Rodriguez, getting over the 7-year hurdle he's talking about, the manliness helps. Because, I mean, it really does.
I can see that.
So the 7-year hurdle, meaning I'm assuming like when you're married for 7 years, the honeymoon phase is kind of worn off.
Some people call it the 7-year itch. Because that's, I think there's a statistical significance of affairs extramarital affairs beginning at 7 years. You know, you've been with now this is the secular view. You've been with one woman now for 7 years, and
the outside world is showing you all this novelty, and so it's easy to go chase that when you're not looking for it in your partner.
Yeah.
When that kind of wears off. But I think it is a manly thing to be able to look at your wife or look at somebody that you've been with for, an extended period of time and truly know them intimately to where you can still see the novelty in them and you can still kind of go back to, and I mean, I know Adam has said this before on the show, just remembering the things that attracted you to this person in the beginning. And it could be something as small as, like a song. Adam and I, in college, there were several songs that we used to dance to. And every time I hear those, kind of brings you back. And
I tweeted that the other day. Like, when I...
Some two-stepping.
Yeah, when Eli...
Play Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, when Eli Young Band comes on, like, I just got to stop what I'm doing, regardless if I'm doing dishes or if I'm, playing football with the boys. I got to just stop what I'm doing and dance with my wife.
Yeah. I did that at the retreat I was on this weekend. They were playing music.
I wasn't there.
The group.
That's weird.
And I shouted, "Play Wagon Wheel," and then they did. They played it. I was like, I did not anticipate that. But it was weird because.
So what did you do during the song?
Nothing. I just kind of stood there and made the comment like, "This is weird." There's
just a bunch of dudes.
Right. It's like, I'm not going to two-step with you guys.
Yeah.
A question was asked what your favorite spiritual book was for the wives.
Oh.
And we obviously, being put on the spot without having the opportunity to think about it is not easy. So
yeah.
We got this great book at the Confraternity of Christian Mothers, the Blue Book, that has some great spiritual reading on motherhood,
child
on
rearing.
your role, child rearing, and also just tons of great prayers.
That confraternity also has some really sweet, graces attached to it.
Oh yeah, and I encourage look
indulgences
it up. Look it up if there's any, in your diocese or nearby.
Be there.
Absolutely. It has been.
Yeah, or look up starting
huge blessing.
one.
Yeah,
because it's like I forget what it is, but anytime you do something like a motherly thing, you
like correct your child with charity or something.
It's as if you did something like you were a martyr or something. It's like it's something pretty sweet. I remember thinking like that's pretty awesome. Get a lot of opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So much grace.
So much.
So much.
I'm trying to think about the books that I've read.
What about the Martin book that you did?
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the biography of the Martin family, St. Therese and her parents and her siblings. I'm only halfway through it, and I've been reading it for a little while, but it is really good because, like, especially St. Zélie, she was, like, pretty regular. I mean, obviously she was a saint and holy, but she was a mother. She had one of her kids was, like, kind of difficult to raise, and I just read about her trip to Lourdes because St. Zélie had breast cancer, and so, they went to Lourdes for healing and stuff. And, like, all these things went wrong on their trip. Like, she, like, slipped into the tub, kind of, and then, like, just got out immediately. And, like, all their clothes got coffee poured on them on the train, and her dress ripped, and they had to have different room accommodations. Anyways, it's like, that's something that would happen to me, Yes. But then just, like, reading about... I don't know, just she and her husband's relationship.
They had an incredibly difficult and like tragic.
Yeah,
like
and they
had
lost
all these
4
kids
children
that died young. Yeah.
One of their children was not an infant when she died. She was like probably 4 or 5, and one of their children starved to death
because she had breast cancer and couldn't breastfeed. And couldn't find anybody to nurse the kid.
So it's not like they just got sick and died. It was like, oh my gosh. So anyways, that's been a good read.
It's been very uplifting.
Yeah. But, she has all these letters that they're quoting to, like, her sister-in-law and her brother, and just like, well, this is God's plan, and I hope I can die well, and I want to die, but I want to finish fulfilling my duties as a mother, you know, and just like regular things. And it's encouraging.
It seems like she was someone who took the vocation of motherhood perfectly. Like, she understood it exactly the way it was supposed to be.
And she went all out.
And yeah, exactly. Was committed to it, and everything that was required of her.
She was,
you know?
Yeah.
I have a question for you, girl. For you, actually, Sean Finn has a question for you, for you ladies. What is something men think they need to do for you or the family, but in reality doesn't really matter?
I read that question somewhere, and I was thinking, really, I feel like I have an answer for the opposite question. Like, what is something that maybe they don't do, but it's like, I would always love it if you did that.
Okay,
and what
go
was that?
reverse
And really,
it.
I think it has to do with your love language,
I was going to bring up love languages.
which since being married, mine has changed.
Yeah.
Mine
I
is
think so.
acts of service. So, like, if David ever does the dishes, like, that's awesome. When he folds a lunch, that's awesome. So you can't do too much of that kind of thing. But I'm not sure if I really have an answer for his question.
I don't
Like,
either.
I wonder if
It's
he's
kinda-
thinking, like, do you want us to open doors? And it's like, yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hmm.
I feel like he's kind of asking that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
he's asking, like, is it a big deal to open doors, or is
Or
it
like
big?
that he wants me to stay home. Like, well, that's fine because I also want to stay home and, you know, raise the kids as opposed to like working full time or something.
But yeah, and I think you're right. Love languages is huge. Words of affirmation, noticing that I'm, you know, working all day while you're at work also, you know, things are getting done here also, and just hearing Adam coming home and, you know, telling me.
Yeah, making the comment, the house looks nice.
Yeah. That
you know,
he
right after you vacuum or something.
Yeah. That, you know, he has socks, you know, in the drawer every morning, or boxers, which doesn't always happen, but I mean, more often than not, I
It's
think.
overrated. Overrated.
No one will know.
Yeah. So, you know, just things like that, and telling me I look beautiful, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so the 7-year itch question, or the 7-year hurdle, however they put it.
Yeah.
Knowing your spouse's love language is crucial. So Pamela and I are on the Catholic Engaged Encounter team, you know, so we help lead couples who are engaged through this retreat to help them get ready for marriage and stuff. And one of the things that we do is we do this love language segment, and having, like, the way this guy, it's a video we play, the guy with the biggest southern draw you've ever
Gary
heard.
Chapman. Gary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's his book. He's the video.
You know, he knows you want the bedroom painted. Anyway.
And he's got an accent.
Yeah. So anyway, he talks all about keeping your spouse's love tank full. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but actually it's, if you can know what your spouse's love language is, like if they don't really care about receiving gifts, if that's not what speaks to them, don't waste your time doing it. Or if they do appreciate gifts and they're not really big on acts of service, well, you know, that's good to know. You know, just get them something small, because that's it doesn't have to be like a car, you know.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do
Or it
with
could.
also making sure
Although that'd work.
making sure that not only like I appreciate things, but that our children also appreciate them. You know, like I've said this before on the show, but we don't have a dinner where the kids do not say thank you to their mother for cooking dinner that evening. You know, making sure that, like, you
Because they're going to copy whatever you do.
Right,
Yes,
so you
and
lead
they
by
do.
example. I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting to the point where it's, like, kind of ridiculous. It's like, as soon as we set down the food at the table, it's like, thank you for dinner, Mom. Dad, how was your day? And it's like, listen, we haven't even sat down yet. Give me a second.
Wait, it needs to be more natural.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like they are. Like,
You're doing it wrong, kids.
they're ingrained, you know. But you know, it is super important for to teach your kids how to be grateful.
Yeah.
For what they have.
And also, one thing I've noticed, if I just focus on loving David the best that I can love him, I forget that, you know, sometimes I might feel not as loved or whatever. My love tank might not be full.
That's so true.
But I don't think about that when I'm just focused on loving David more. So that's helpful for me, like, you know, whatever. But I try to give him the energy, and then I just kind of forget that I'm having all these like pity parties or whatever. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people who say like to get out of depression, you know, is to start thinking about other people more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is different.
That's
Clinical
different-
depression,
yeah,
it's different
it's a
from
huge,
being depressed.
right.
Yeah.
I was just.
Yeah.
Of course. You have to
Yeah.
say.
I agree.
People are going to email us if we don't.
I agree. I agree.
We
I have
don't
one
do
more
it.
that I really want to ask, but do you have one that you want to ask before we close up shop? Was there one that like jumped out at you, Dave? Or
I think the dating
ladies?
one, Brian
Yeah.
Spears.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How does your
I saw.
wife? Oh, no.
Best tips for those
Just kidding.
just
Sorry,
starting to
Brian.
date for the first time.
Okay.
Right here, yeah.
Um,
Rossi Nossi.
I think this is pretty obvious, but if you don't think you're going to marry them, just don't date them. Right?
That is
Yeah.
that is great advice.
And, yeah, I tell you what, like the older I get, the more crotchety I get about this kind of thing. But
Get
like,
off my lawn.
like dating in high school is stupid. It is.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get married? No. Don't date.
Some people get married right after high school, and that works out.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm just saying.
What
You're
you can
gonna
do
get emails.
Is you can be friends, but having a formal,
Right.
official dating relation. I mean, if you are ready to get married, okay, then date. You know, like if you have your life put together in high school, go for it. I doubt you do. That's just what I think. But I know it's not a popular opinion, and it was not my opinion in high school at all. You know, but the older I get, like I said,
When
I'm
you
a little bit
realize,
more
like,
crotchety about it all now.
What is the end to things that we
Yeah,
do?
the purpose of dating is marriage. And I used to say, oh, well, it's important to date in high school so you know how to do it well. You can practice. The thing is, that's not what's happening in high school. You're not dating well. All you're doing is dating poorly. You're making a bunch of dating mistakes and forming dating habits, you know, and it's just bad. Don't do it. Dads, be bold.
Yeah, be bold. Take a stand.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, is there anything else you
Oh,
want
But
to add?
dating tips. Dating tips.
Dating tips.
Receive.
That is what made me fall in love with. It's one of the things that made me fall in love with her.
As a woman, we are created to receive. So like there's, I like this guy, whatever. I've got his phone number. I'm not going to text him because I'm just going to receive. If he wants to text me or whatever, that's fine. But
don't go chasing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I swooned when she told me that was her motto. It's the only time I've ever done that. It's a weird feeling.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah. Can you reenact it?
No.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to.
Good question.
I thought you may actually bite at that.
No.
But you did not.
No. But dating tips. If you're Catholic, date another Catholic. I think I cannot emphasize this enough. I know that you can date a non-Catholic. You know, it's like, oh, well, she's a good Christian or he's a good Christian. You might have a great dating relationship. A marriage will be different. You know, there will be things about, and I know, like you guys, Haylee, you weren't Catholic. And so there's always that, people are going to always say that exception. Whatever. My spouse converted and now everything's great. That's awesome. But
you can't count on that.
Right. You can't count on that. And if maybe you do start dating someone and if they're not open to converting, I'm just going to say that
as a rule, I think that's accurate. There are exceptions.
You should expect to marry another Catholic.
And if you're not
for the sake of your future children.
So for me, when Haylee and I were dating, Haylee was not baptized at all when we first started dating. So she was unchurched.
Yeah, and growing up more agnostic, just... Yeah.
It was just kind of a non-issue, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I made things very, like, when I realized, like, things were kind of progressing dating-wise and things were getting a little bit more serious, I made it very clear, this is how I envision the family, this is how I envision raising our children.
Expectations.
This is what I propose moving forward.
Yeah.
This is what I expect, raising a family.
Yeah.
So that way there's no, like, oh, we're now married and you didn't tell me this beforehand.
Right.
I made it very clear.
And I think that happened as you and David moved in together after college and returned to your faith, and kind of learning more about it. I was like, oh man, this seems like, things are changing. Our relationship is definitely changing because we hadn't, I hadn't seen this side of you before. And I thought, well, if I'll go and I'll, head to mass for a few times with him, and we'll just kind of see where it goes and see if there's anything to this. And sure enough, I think 3 years later, yeah.
Also, if your wife is going through RCIA, even if you were not her sponsor, go to RCIA with her.
Oh yeah.
Like
every time.
Every time. I mean, that's what I mean. Every time I was there, I was not her RCIA sponsor, but I was there to show her support and what she's. I mean, this is the biggest thing that she's gonna do.
Right.
So I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
Also, I think this might be bad advice. I don't know. I think it's good advice. If you're going on a first date with somebody, I think you should make it clear from the very beginning what your expectations are with dating. This is something that I decided on after it didn't work out with somebody I dated, just very briefly. I decided, you know what? From now on, the first date I go on, I'm going to tell them, look, I'm looking for a chaste relationship. I'm looking for, I'm Catholic. I'm looking for someone who can help me pursue holiness as a vocation. And, these are what I'm looking for. And
don't beat around the bush.
Right. And I knew that might scare some people away. Like, whoa.
That's a little too intense.
Hey, this is just date number one. I just was hoping
bold.
Kind of have maybe have a nice evening. But I realized the woman that I'm looking for, when I say these things, she will say, at last. I've been waiting for somebody to say this, this is the man I've been looking for, so it was actually just, it's just if it scares them away, great. Now what you would have found out in 3 months or whatever, so it's just get it at, the sooner the better. It's a discernment process. So if this is going to help you discern, it's a good thing. So I hope that doesn't ruin any first dates for you, but
I don't remember you saying any of those things.
I did.
I believe you.
Yeah. But the thing was, I already knew those things about you.
You guys knew each other's background.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question that I had. I'm interested to hear you guys be honest. Be honest. Okay. Sutherland.Ray asks, has the Catholic Man Show helped the wives at all? Have they heard something that would put them, that helped them?
Do you think content of the Catholic Man Show?
Or do you think that the ministry in general has helped? Because, it's easy for Dave and I to go, and we go to Phoenix, every year for the men's conference. That's kind of nice for us, in reality, because we're flying out. We're going to Phoenix in February, which is a very easy sell. It's very cold here.
70s.
Yeah.
It's beautiful there. We don't, it's kind of a quote unquote vacation for us a little bit. I mean, we still have to do things, but so we're catching the easy end.
We know.
Yeah.
We know it's a vacation for you.
Yeah. You guys catch the.
We're still here.
Yeah. You guys catch the tougher end of that.
Well, it sanctifies us. Let's say that.
Sure.
And patience but you know what? Something I forgot to mention earlier. Seeing David do the show, and you guys get a lot of testimonies from people I haven't been to confession in 20 years or something, and it's just so amazing. So I think I have been able to see your faith be more dependent on God, and just really it's in God's hands. Just really laying it down, and it's an offering instead of you trying to do it. I think I can see that just through this ministry has helped that.
Yeah, there have been many episodes that we did that we both thought that's one of the worst episodes we've ever done.
And we
then,
almost did not even publish it.
Right, and then those turned out to,
Right.
be the ones that had like some miracle, like,
effect.
it's not
on
like
somebody.
the actual
Yeah,
miracle,
get
but
really good feedback.
something like what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'd say as far as like the content goes, I try to listen to the episodes. I'm like maybe
You don't listen to. You don't.
I'm
listen.
maybe 5 months behind, and I finally did like, you know what? I don't need to listen to the Ultimo cigar. I'm not gonna.
Oh,
smoke a
babe,
cigar.
that one is so good.
Well, I skipped that one, and I also skipped. I gotta catch up.
Yeah.
But usually I always glean something, and a lot of times it's a lot of things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cool. Especially when you guys have guests on.
Especially when you guys aren't talking. You know what? I learned so much when you guys aren't talking.
Yeah. When you have other people who are doing the talking.
On there,
yeah.
I learned so much.
It is incredible when
I actually feel the same way.
other
Pamela.
people use words. Yeah.
When we have guests, I'm like,
I just
okay,
listened
good.
to the Carlo
You can
Broussard
take a
one.
deep breath and let
it's
them
like,
just do
that
their
was
thing.
good.
Yeah, Carlo Broussard is awesome.
Yeah.
He's underrated as a philosopher.
Agreed. Strongly agreed.
Yeah.
Anything from you, babe?
Yeah, I mean, it can be difficult when, it seems like, you guys are going off and gallivanting around, and there's been some talk about other locations recently, and I'm like, oh, well, that'll be nice for you.
Dave, I haven't even updated you since you've been gone.
Since you've been gone.
And it is easy, to throw a pity party while I'm at home and things are not going well. And
Mayday.
Yeah, exactly. But because that's spiritual warfare. Like, things are happening here and things are getting at me because I know he's doing God's work.
And you're supporting him in that.
Yes.
And,
So it is, a sacrifice, but at the same time,
when they're camping and it's been raining for 48 hours, it's like,
yeah. Well,
I'm glad I'm not out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a great time.
I did too, even though my tent was flooded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to you on the phone. It was my birthday, and he was gone, and he called, and so is it just like miserable? He was like, no.
No, it's totally fine.
I don't even believe you, but I'm glad that's your answer.
Is there any? I haven't seen any Facebook questions come in a while, but I did see one more in here I was going to ask.
Okay.
Let me find it though.
How about pet peeves? Like, how do you get through pet peeve? There's the marriage stage of like learning, like, oh, this is how there's some pet peeves that are happening. Like,
yes.
you do things that kind of gets on my nerves. I didn't realize you did this.
You have to be bold. I don't like confrontation, and early in our marriage, David did something, continued to do something, and I thought, you know what? David loves me, and
Are you talking about the cabinet doors?
Yes, the cabinet doors. He likes to leave them open. I mean, he doesn't like to leave them open. He doesn't think about shutting them.
I just do leave them open.
Yeah. And anyways,
it's
I don't
it's like
that.
the Sixth Sense in
drawers
our
need to be
kitchen
closed
sometimes.
all the way. Cabinets need to be closed, and so I realized, like, I know David doesn't really know he's doing this, and I know that David wants to love me the best he can, and he just doesn't know that that is a way he can love. So I told him,
so much opportunity right here.
So I was like, it's worth like bringing it up, because otherwise, 60, 70 years go by and that thing would grow,
Right.
Fester.
How about you, honey?
What do you mean?
Pet peeves. How do you get over mine?
Well, you don't have any here.
Yeah,
you said
it's very easy because you don't really have any.
Okay, come on now.
Pamela has one major one that I still struggle with.
Oh.
It's like, look, if you are going to be that good looking all the time, like, what do you want from me? What am I supposed to do when you're over there just being so hot? Okay? I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. Okay.
One of the things that I did that I did not even realize until Haylee said, kind of like what you were saying, Pamela, like you need to just like talk about it, bring it up. It's another driving thing, which is very interesting.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is very
the car.
funny.
Oh,
yeah,
I almost brought this one up.
Yeah, when I get to a stop sign, because I like to win. A stoplight, like I like to win, and in everything that I do, I want to win.
You still have not achieved perfection, my friend.
Not yet. But I'm running to win the race. So like when I approach a stoplight, I like slow way down, but I don't actually stop. I
will do the slow creep.
Slow roll until it turns green because
Only
I'm
if
already
you're in front.
No. Like no. If there's somebody in front of me, like I know I have to, like I'm
gotta pace yourself.
I'm trying to time the light perfectly. Basically, when the light turns green, that I get to vroom, and I'm off.
How does that work for you?
Well, it works great for me. Actually, I'm very good at it because I've done it since I was 16. However, when I realized that my wife kind of gets motion sick when I'm just slowly creeping.
Oh, and when you're 8 weeks pregnant or, right in those times.
And I'm like just barely rolling.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And
Would you stop already?
Yeah. It's like, would you stop? And I was like, I'm just trying to win. Like this guy over here, I think wants to race us in our minivan.
Right.
And I want to win.
Like, look at all of the cars around us. Do you see how they are stopped and still?
Right.
At the stoplight.
Yeah. But I typically don't. Anyway, that was one thing that I
Do your
realized.
kids say anything about that? Our kids would say something about that.
No, they don't say it other than
they want to win. Also,
if
Mary would be like,
it's,
turn right on red. You can turn right on red.
Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of backseat drivers also.
They know weird things.
Go, Mom. Go, Mom.
And there's the liquor store.
They drive by the liquor store.
The beer store.
Elizabeth like, hey, there's the liquor store. And I'm like, that's right, honey.
Mom, do we need to stop at the liquor store?
So the
Elizabeth, do you need anything?
the law has just changed to where they can come in now.
Yeah, we can take our kids in the liquor store.
And
I
so-
thought about
Field trip.
having a family trip to the liquor store the other day.
They just touch everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
They would love that.
Crash.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went to the brewery on Sunday after Holy Mass. We went to the brewery and I was just gonna run in real quick, grab a 4-pack because it was a special. American Slayer had the 3-year IPA.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to grab a 4-pack. And Luke said, "Hey, can I come in with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can." And so both Luke and Jude, obviously Jude wanted to join in naturally. So we went in there and we walked back out. And as soon as we got in the car, Luke goes, "Yeah, Mom, I went into the liquor store. There's 2 TVs in there. They're both playing football games. I just sat there and watched football while Dad bought his beer." It's like,
It's profound.
yeah.
yeah. It was a big day.
He felt pretty big.
Yeah.
It's my new favorite place. Just
Yeah.
gonna say.
Is there anything that you ladies had questions or wanted to ask or talk about before we?
When you see these guys out and about, they are not celebrities, okay?
That's what I keep saying, but
And it is funny to watch that happen.
Or to hear that from somebody.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're Adam Minahan's wife? I said, that's how people know me.
It's
Like,
just so
Adam
funny.
Minahan's wife, and I know, and yeah, it is different.
my mom also thinks it's funny.
Well, it is funny.
Yeah.
It is.
I have to correct them. I'm like, no, you don't.
He's my
understand."
husband.
That's true. Yeah.
Well,
I just think it's funny.
mm-hmm.
And also this is really not really pertinent, but it's interesting because like I feel like I know women who are gift givers, like, oh, I'm so great, like you came and did this talk, like, here's a candle or here's a scarf I knitted or something. But the guys, they give you things and it's like woodworking things or laser etched decanters, and it's like, that's really cool to see the craftsmanship from the males. I know what craftsmanship from the women look like, and so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even though they're not celebrities, but if you give them things, I think it's cool still.
But if you would like to send us liquor, you can go to CatholicManShow.com and
Yeah.
You should see my husband's face just light up when I send a text message of, a heavy box has arrived, and we know what's in it. And he's just
always pumped.
we get all the books at our house.
Yeah, you get the books, we get the liquor. That's a good trade-off.
I'll switch you.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Dave?
No. Ladies, thank you
Ladies,
for
thank you.
supporting us and
Yeah, thank you for all your support.
in our
happy to
ministry.
be
Love.
here.
Yeah.
Because
You're
literally we couldn't do it without you. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Literally.
it just wouldn't work.
Haley, was it as bad as what you thought it was going to be?
Well, I didn't think it was going to be necessarily
So we
bad.
voted
I just
I put
not-
up on Instagram. I said, should we have our wives on and I had them vote.
Yeah.
And Haley voted no.
Yeah, she was one of only a few people who
But
said
she
no.
realized
But there were others.
She did
That's
not
saying something.
she did not realize that I was going to be able to see who voted what.
Right, it's not anonymous.
It's not an anonymous vote.
I thought it was anonymous. So I was like, I'm just gonna.
So she was like trying to skew the numbers.
No.
Yeah, and voted no.
We had one person vote no 12 times.
Yeah.
We looked it up, and it was you, Haylee.
I do like to stay in the background, and that's.
You know what? The
That's where
worst
I'm
part was
comfortable.
before we actually started, because like you can hear yourself, and it's like, is anyone listening to us yet? And I need to blow my nose.
Yeah,
you
do
know.
I always sound this funny? Like, ugh. People have to listen to this.
They get to listen to it.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right.
Any parting advice for married women out there? Just like last.
Love your husbands.
Be a saint.
What do you mean? What do you specifically mean by that?
Physically love your husbands. Physically.
By
Is this
physical
spiritually-
touch,
Is this like a
Physical
is this
touch.
words
like
of affirmation,
married,
Words of affirmation.
married kind of
service.
thing? I think so.
I'm afraid to say anything, so yes.
She's about to give
Yes.
birth to our fourth child.
If that tells you
If
Yes.
that says
anything at all.
I think we can end it now.
Yeah, let's go out on that.
Sex.
I'm gonna have-
Is it still
My
on?
parents could be watching.
There, that. That's funny.
Oh, we were
You
supposed
actually
to
are still streaming.
Yeah, I'm still streaming. Totally.
Yeah. Okay, we're done.
Bye.